Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video I can give you the information on this Summon Rush event. We're going to have 2 guaranteed epics during this, as well as a bunch of different 10x events. They're really cramming a lot in. I don't know, I've seen a lot of people mention that Raid are in profit mode at the moment, and yeah, let me know what you think about that. To me, it definitely feels true, because we are just getting slammed with event after event after event. There are so many events in the game, so many summon rushes and 10x events, and this new summon pool thing. Like, it really does feel like we're getting slammed with just event after event. It's unrelenting, isn't it? Anyway, let's look at the 2 epics that are going to be guaranteed. So the first one is tomorrow, this Tuesday, the 28th of July. It's going to be Wiranon, the Silken. She'll be guaranteed for 40 ancient shards. She's an interesting champ. Really, I think she's mostly about faction wars. That would be my take. This is a champion to pull for if you're stuck on Sylvan Watcher faction wars and you're going to need her to beat that faction crypt. And maybe that's stopping you getting Lydia, which is stopping you from progressing in other areas. That's sort of it. So she's got 20% speed and faction crypt aura. That's really good. She has a single target revive on a 4-turn cooldown with half HP, 30% turn meter, and a continuous heal. She has an increased speed with turn meter fill on a 4-turn cooldown, and then her A1 can put decreased attack. So she's not particularly good. She's mediocre. She's an average epic, right? Increased speed and turn meter is fine, but it's about the same as Apothecary. Is it exactly the same as Apothecary, but on a 4-turn instead of a 3-turn cooldown? And then, look, the single target revive is decent, but not amazing. So yeah, she's one of those champions. She's kind of like a 5 out of 5 for faction wars for a lot of people to get those 3-star ratings. For the rest of the place, she's all right, but nothing special. So that for me is only for faction wars pulling. Now, the one that's a bit more enticing is on the 26th of July. That's Wednesday. Probably later in the day, right? So the one for Wiranon is going to run for 36 hours. So that starts tomorrow, will run for 36 hours. Then we're going to have White Dryad Nia is back, and that's going to run for 35 hours. Starting on Wednesday, probably in the latter half, and continuing through basically all of Thursday as well. She is going to be guaranteed for 30 Void Shards. White Dryad Nia is a significantly better champion than Wiranon. She has ally protection and the small version of strengthen for your whole team on a 3-turn cooldown. Really nice there. Then she has a 3-turn, remove all debuffs from a target ally, heal them by 40% max HP. And if the target of this skill is not this champion, so anyone else you cast it on, decreases the cooldown of all of their skills by 2 turns. That is really cool for enabling some unique strategies. And then her A1 is brilliant. AoE with a 50% chance when booked of putting decreased speed for 2 turns. Very strong for Hydra. She also will heal all allies except for this champion by 20% of any heal she receives. So you could put her in like lifesteal set, and every time she A1s, it's going to do a ton of healing. If Leech is out and she gets healed by Leech, she can actually do a ton of healing with this A1. If you give her like War Master and stuff like that, there's a lot of options there. Yeah, she's like super highly rated for Hydra, for faction crypt. They're probably the main areas. Yeah, probably doesn't stand out too much anywhere else. Generally good for Doom Tower waves, I suppose, as well. But yeah, White Dryad Nia, she's a very good epic. Very good for Hydra. 30 Void Shards. That is, by the way, if we come over here and we check, that's what they did in November. So this is a repeat of November, where they did White Dryad Nia for 30 Void Shards. We just had... Did we just have Godseeker again? I think we just had Godseeker again. Yeah, just, well, about a month ago. And we've just come off of a Kemptum guaranteed. I would say White, I mean, it's kind of tough. I'd say Nia is maybe a bit more useful than a Kemptum overall. Just because she's so strong for Hydra, but that's sort of my bias in being quite Hydra focused. I don't know, which one's better, Nia or a Kemptum? It is interesting that they seem to be settling into 40 Ancients for guaranteed and 30 Voids for guaranteed in terms of epic champions. So that's something that's worth noting. They've done that a few times now. That might be what we're going to see going forwards. Now, there are going to be some 10x events at the same time going alongside this. And certainly, if you're going for the guaranteed, I would be strongly pushing you towards a couple of the different days. So first of all, on Tuesday, this is the damage dealer day. It's a little bit weaker overall, I would say. So the Void Legendary is Ethos. He's still my most used champion on the account. But honestly, if you've got Supreme Alhaine, I think she does basically everything Ethos does almost as well. Plus, she's much better in Arena than him. Simply put, he has an AoE on a 3-turn and an AoE on a 4-turn. He does good damage. He has an extra turn chance on his A1. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. He does lots of AoE damage and he hits very hard. He's great for going through Doom Tower normal. For campaign, Nightmare campaign farming, he's extremely good. Brutal campaign, he's extremely good. Minotaur farming, extremely good. Great for all of that stuff. But, you know, not super relevant for any hard content in the game at the moment. He's decent in Arena, but he's not like endgame meta or anything like that. But he's decent. This would not be a Void Legendary that too many people would be chasing. I think it's more of the only people that would really be chasing this would be, I think, you know, Krakens, super Krakens, that it's just super luxury. I'll just get a +4 ethos, you know, for any champion training tournaments to just blitz through Nightmare campaign in like 7 seconds or whatever. But that's a real luxury. The champs from Ancients and Sacreds are, I think, a bit better. Both demon spawn. First one is Hefrak. Good champion, right? Boosts increased attack. Then he's got a massive hitting A2. Does so much AoE damage. He even gets to proc the AoE for free if someone on the team dies. So he's very strong. Typically, you build him in Stone Skin so that he's kind of slower, but you build him to hit really hard. Somebody dies and he gets to pop off with his AoE. Hefrak, he's very solid. Very, very solid champion. Good nuker. Again, he's not like top tier endgame, really, but he's only a step below that. So he's really, really nice. I've got him, and I've used him a decent chunk. Candrafon is the other one. I would rate Candrafon as the best, actually, probably overall of these 3 champions, because he is still very, very strong for Arena, offense, and defense as a brilliant force nuker. His A1 is one of the hardest hitting in the game. This does so much damage. It's crazy. So huge single target damage. Has a big AoE that gives him an extra turn. If he kills someone as well, he can buff up himself with increased attack, speed, crit damage, perfect veil. And he also takes way less damage and does way more damage when he's under veil, and he gets turn meter too. So Candrafon, I find he's very useful. I think he's really strong for offense and defense. So yeah, I'd probably be skipping this day though, you know, unless you really need a nuker, which I feel like is fairly unlikely. I think unless you have the champions from the other days, this would be the day to skip, and you can skip it. If you're going for Wiranon, guaranteed, you're like, I really want her, I suggest these champions from Wednesday are overall better. So looking at Wednesday, well, first of all, we've got the first Void that will overlap with Guaranteed Void. Let's look at her first, which is Ursiga Warcaller. I actually think quite a solid champion, both literally and also in terms of her gameplay, her strength as well. Really strong passive here. Decrease the damage all allies receive from critical hits by 30%, and she takes the damage instead. Very easy to build her as a big old tank. She can easily survive that damage. And it's surprising how much of a difference this makes to how tanky your team is. She makes your team much tankier. She can also put out ally protection, gives herself strength in. She has some AoE stuff, which isn't that important, honestly. It's mostly just about the passive. And maybe she throws up the ally protection. Maybe you build her in a big old bolster set or stone skin or I don't know, something like that. I actually think she's very solid, right? She's a great alternative to Ultimate Death Knight in terms of a protector for Arena. Ultimate Death Knight, very good against single target damage. Ursica, I actually think, is a bit better against those AoE damage dealers. I think she's maybe a little underrated. But yeah, Ursica is a good, solid choice. So she's not bad. She's not bad. But I will say the Thursday Legendary, in my opinion, is better. We'll come to that in a sec. First of all, let's talk about the 2 that you can get here from your Ancient and Sacreds on this day. And again, remember, this overlaps with the 40 Ancients just about with Wiranon. The first one is Kyoku. She was just in the Summon Pool event. I think that she is definitely the weaker of the ones today, like no question. This champion's like, she's okay, right? She's okay. Ally protection that puts block damage on her with an extra turn. Like, that's kind of cool because it means you can build her with good damage. She can survive it. So she can be a good damage dealing ally protection champion, which is unusual. AoE decrease attack. It can do AoE HP burn if there's decreased attack already out and she can't replace it. And her A1 hits pretty hard and can place weaken. Got a nice passive for Arena. she's a decent champ, right? She's all right, sort of mid-gamey for arena defense, does fall off late game. She's kind of like quite decent for some Doom Tower bosses. I think she can solo Bommel actually quite effectively as well with her block damage. There's quite a few bits this champion can do that are pretty cool. Not a super high priority, but she's decent. And then Duchess Lilitu. This is what I'm saying, guys. This is the one to pull for, is Duchess Lilitu. No question. The best champion from Ancients and Sacred Shards. She is up on Wednesday, the 26th of July, from both Ancients and Sacreds, and it will overlap the Guaranteed from Ancients too. So this is the one to pull for. And you can have multiple copies. And so I'd just be pulling for this if I was going to pull. Personally, probably not going to pull, but if I were, it would be for Duchess. What needs to be said? The AoE Revive, that brings them back with Veil, so they're safe and continuous heal on everyone as well. AoE block debuffs, increase attack, and the perfect Veil. The Veil is so strong for keeping champions alive in arena, stopping them being targeted. It's very powerful. Nice little shield in her A1. Amazing passive, decreasing AoE damage, and a speed aura. Top tier for Hydra, top tier for arena offense, defense. One of the few champions that gets 5-star ratings, needless to say, but she's absolutely insane. And that's Wednesday. So Duchess, she's kind of the winner there. Then finally for Thursday, kind of like decent but not crazy champs from the Ancients and Sacreds. So first of all, we have Wither the Crowned, I think the most frequently in 10x event champion in the game. She does a lot of healing, right? Cleanse and big heal, increased defense and lots of healing. A1 is a leech and continuous heal. She's a solid champ. She can definitely do some fun stuff, I think, in hard mode dungeons. It's like just one of the strongest healers in the game. Just pumps out so much healing and also the increased defense to keep people alive. It's just lots and lots of healing. If you want healing, she is the champ to go to. So she is solid for that. And the other one is Shemnath, who's an interesting one too. So kind of nuker, a little bit different. AoE double hit. First hit removes all buffs. Second hit ignores defense against targets with no active buffs. Does get bonus accuracy for each buff on the enemy. And bonus crit damage for each debuff on the enemy. Triple hit A2, which does a few different effects. And the A1 can do decreased defense. Shemnath is a solid damage dealer. She hits pretty hard, actually. And the buff strip can be useful. Bit stronger now as well. That polymorph is not quite as common. So for more people, Shemnath would be a bit more useful. I think, again, she's fairly decent. But would I be pulling for Shemnath when I can be pulling for Duchess? No. As simple as that. No, I wouldn't, but she's all right. And then finally, the final champion, an extremely good champion, is going to be Riho Bonespear. She was the first ever guaranteed Void. I'm very sad that she was the first one and that I wasn't therefore able to do it because I wasn't saving my Void shards at that time. But Riho has really, really become a dominant force in the game. In recent times. It's this pressure points move is one of the biggest things. It puts out so many debuffs. Burn, decrease defense, weaken, decrease attack, decrease crit rate. That is so strong for both the Sand Devil and for the Phantom Shogun, right? So the two newest dungeons for farming, awakenings for your gear, or ascensions for your gear, whatever it's called. I don't even know anymore. Too much stuff. But she's S tier for that. She opens up a lot of team compositions, makes it a lot easier with all those debuffs. Very strong, and also brings a 3-turn cooldown, full cleanse with block debuffs and a massive heal. Extremely good. She is extremely good in the game now. She's not bad in arena either. Her passive actually protects her from debuffs, so that's quite handy. She's okay in arena, but I think really she stood out very strongly against a lot of these single target bosses. She's really become a dominant factor, a dominant force. Like Phantom, Shogun, Sand Devils, I guess Iron Twins as well. She's got 4.9 for Hydra. I wouldn't rate her that highly for Hydra myself. She's all right, but I don't think she's that good, but not bad, I guess. But for the single target bosses, this champion has proven her worth over and over again. And if they add more single target bosses in the future, it's likely Riho could be at the center point of those strategies too. So she's really good. I definitely underrated her initially, I have to say. So there you go. Those are the different events. Like I said, if I was to pull for the guaranteed Wiranon, I would only do it if I was stuck in Faction Wars. I would definitely be pulling at the same time as the Duchess event. And if I was going for Nia, which I think is more likely because she's useful for Hydra, which is a more difficult thing, I would be pulling for the Riho Bonespear event. That would be my recommendation. Yeah, we're on only for Faction Wars. Nia, great for Faction Wars, but could be good for Hydra, some Doom Tower stuff too. I'm not sure if you're going to have any Void Shards left, you know, after a guaranteed Godseeker, a very intensive fusion in Newt and top tier fusion, and guaranteed a Kemptum. It's a lot of guaranteed back to back, so I don't know if people are going to have anything to go for her. We haven't had a guaranteed legendary in a good while, and they're probably slowing down because there's only so many Void legendaries in the game, despite them really padding out the pool recently, a good chunk as well. I'm probably going to just skip it and save myself. But I don't know. Let me know. What do you think about these events? Are you going to be tempted to pull? I think people certainly would be tempted to pull by the Riho and the Duchess, even if there was nothing else going on. So there you are. Let me know what you think. Personally, probably going to skip it. Let's pull. I'm going to pull some of these soul stones at the end, actually, for some of these coins. I do want some of the coins. We'll just see if we get any legendaries to end it. Tunisia, that's kind of decent. It's only 1 star, but it's okay. We got not too much there. The Man-Eater will actually be somewhat helpful. Let's see if we get any legendaries. Nothing much there, unfortunately. We go again. There's a legendary. 1 star Cardial. Don't have him, sadly. 1 star Cold Heart is not going to help too much. And, oh, ending on a legendary. 3 star Molly. Now, I don't have Molly, but she is S tier for Hydra. So insanely good. So, yeah, slap her with a... Oh, Lightning Cage, make her mischief tanking even better, and that's actually very nice to have. So I'll be holding on to that one. Yeah, getting some points towards that Artak event. Anything? Yeah, look at that. We got a new soul for a Man-Eater. He'll take that. I do use Man-Eater still. Oh, I got a 3 star Claude. I do use him. We got a few bits in there, so not too shabby. Pulling my souls. We do have a 4th Cold Heart, who's 1 star now. Good on you, Cold Heart. And hey, we got Aox. It turns out I got a few bits in the epics I wasn't looking at. Kind of nice to pull a bunch of shards and not really pay attention. Ornn, who's not being used for the faction crypt for me personally. But he's got some stuff. We've got Luria. Oh man, we've got all sorts of things coming in. Look at this. Today is a good day. We got Gruckus, but I don't have enough stuff to put on him. 1 star Marquess. Might do a video on her sometime for fun. And yeah, oh, Grave Chill Killer brings me back. One of my first ever clan boss champions. Never made it past level 50. I was a big noob back then. Guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch you all soon. Goodbye.